Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantasy show. It is Thursday, March, May, whatever, bullshit. Thursday, 15th. We're taking our minds off of football today. I've got an exquisite guest with me, a man of class, culture, sophistication, the always lovely, the always remarkable Dave Kluge is with me. Dave, how you doing, bud?
Doing great, man. This is fun. This time of year, all of the shows that I go on are the same, talking about what rookies are going to be making an impact on what team and all that sort of stuff. So this is fun to just let the hair down a little bit and talk about what I believe is the funniest show of all time. I know last year we did a show on I Think You Should Leave, and I think You Should Leave is hilarious. The meme ability and the quotes and all that is great. It's a new show, but I don't think anything will ever be able to top the comedy that these guys were putting out for an extended period. Like, you can go through season 12 without a bad episode. Like, it just I don't know if anybody will ever be able to recapture the magic that the gang did.
No, it's a one of one. It's a unicorn show. There's not a bad episode. There's not a bad season. And it's one of those shows that kind of, like it always gets compared to Seinfeld. So we're doing It's Always Sunny episodes today. It always gets compared to Seinfeld. And like once Seinfeld figured out what it was, it kind of never changed. It maybe got a little wackier with some of its plot lines, but like season 4 from then on, it was kind of like, all right, we're Seinfeld. It's Always Sunny is push the envelope every single season. The plot lines get darker. The jokes that they stay on topic. Like Seinfeld was never really terribly topical. It was just like a kind of a fun social show. It's Always Sunny has made me a different person. It has changed who I am to the core. And I don't know, for a show with the subject matter that they have, how good that is. I don't know how that affects the loved ones in my life, but I'm excited to talk about it with you today.
I think one of the funniest things when rewatching the show is like realizing that these people are very grounded in reality in the early seasons. Like, they've got their quirks, but like Frank is a polished and well-spoken man. Like Charlie can put together sentences, and then it's like every single episode you just see them just like spiraling deeper into like madness and chaos. And I think that's what makes it so funny. For somebody to just like jump in blind and watch an episode in like season 10, I think they'd be totally lost. You almost need to watch it from the beginning and just like witness this spiral into madness.
The spiral into madness is a good way to put it, because the first episode I ever saw actually didn't make my countdown for today, which is disappointing, and I'm embarrassed with myself. But it was the gang reignites the rivalry, which is just a like season 5 is not. It might be peak for some people. It's pretty up there for me, but just a great episode to like. And you just don't know working backwards. You're like, oh, this show's funny. I guess I'll start from the beginning. And you're like, oh my God, there goes my free time for 3 weeks. And I'm a better man for it. So that being said, I'll let you kick us off here. We're going to ping pong back and forth our favorite Sunny episodes, power rankings. What's good for the SEO, Dave? Power rankings, draft season, Mount Rushmore. What captures the audience?
I think probably power rankings, but putting up a show about Always Sunny in Philadelphia on a fantasy football channel, I think we might just be dead in these SEO streets.
That's okay. The chat's showing up because they want to see Pete's here with us. What's up, Pete? Good to see you. Jamie as well. So lead us off here. What do you got for us first?
I think my first favorite episode is a little bit of a deep cut, but there's a scene in this episode that I just think is the funniest scene in the entire series. It's Dennis and Dee's mom is dead, and there's a reoccurring character in the series, the lawyer, who comes in throughout the entire show. But this is the first time that we actually meet the lawyer, and it is when Frank, Dee, and Dennis are all getting the will read of their mom, and it just perfectly encapsulates everything about the characters. You've got Frank just screaming, you tell my dead wife, and he's trying to explain that he can't tell her anything. Dee is just furious because she's not getting what she wants. And then Dennis just kind of smugly, thanks for the house, dude. And he's like, again, I didn't give you the house. And he's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did, bro.
Such a good scene. I don't know if there's a single scene in the entire series that better portrays like who these characters are at their core.
Yeah, that one's great because Sunny does two things. They have people who are normal people in episodes that are just like, what are these maniacs? And then they have like people who steal the show, like the maniac, like Roddy Piper. So I love that. I do have a scene here. I pulled up random scenes from all the shows we're going to talk about today. It's just the first scenes that spoke to me. And here's one from this episode.
Take him anymore. You should have seen how passionate he got when I showed him the dick flyer. You knew that it was a dick? Well, yeah, I thought we changed it. I thought you guys were changing it. It was always meant to be biceps. Well, then why didn't you cut it like? Because it looks totally like a dick. I thought, all right, let's go with the dick thing. It's more masculine anyway. I mean, shit, if you want it to be a bicep, it needs more veins.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, I bring up one scene that I think is hilarious, but like the side stories and the other scenes of
Yeah.
the show is just perfect.
It really is. Like every scene goes off in a way to where you're like, it's really the only show I think ever that I'm like, I don't see how anybody could write this. I don't see how anybody could come up with this. I think You Should Leave is in that same vein as well. So maybe there's a theme with you and I about like the craziness of a lot of these shows that we love. But I just sit there, I go, you could give me an entire year and I don't think I could write something that's 5% as funny as every scene, especially in this episode. I mean, it goes beat for beat.
Yeah, I think this whole I can't remember the exact season. I think this is probably season 3, 4, maybe season 5. But I think
Mhm.
this is when they were just like at their peak. The first couple of seasons, they were figuring out what they wanted to do. They
Yeah.
had to find a way to kind of make Danny DeVito a part of the storyline.
Mm.
And then by like season 3, that's when they were just completely in their bag. And these early seasons, they got away with a lot that I think they probably couldn't in today's climate, which makes them even funnier.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. And they've really I completely agree with you because you're going to see no episodes from me from seasons 1, 2, or I'll be embarrassed 3. And it's not for any indication. It was just like once they hit that 4 through maybe 13 range, it just spoke to like who I was in such a profound, maybe we'll do another show one day where we revisit the initial episode. But for today, we're going to be cranking through here. So who stole the show for you in this episode?
Oh, I think for me, it's got to be Frank. Just him losing his mind
Grifter?
over. Yeah, I think it's got to be Frank in this one. Just losing his mind over his dead wife and not understanding that he can't still communicate with her. That's a pretty good bit.
Seamus, AIDS. Yeah, this is just,
Yeah.
there's just all kinds of great stuff. All right. Chat as well. If the chat has anything fun from any of these episodes they love, I'll definitely get you up on here. Sal says Water Park is the best. Maybe a little foreshadowing.
That's on my
Who knows,
list.
Sal?
Yep,
Who
we'll
knows,
get
Sal?
there.
Watching this is more fun than accomplishing stuff at work. Hey, that's why we're doing this show. We're having fun. And Jamie says I'm a big fan of dark humor. So Dumpster Baby. Yes. Dumpster Baby has one of the best cold opens ever. There's a baby in this dumpster. But yeah. All right. So let's get to my first one here. I've got a ton to choose from. I'm going to go out of order. I'll play my clips to announce the episode.
Who do we have here?
Hi.
Hello, Deandra.
Yep.
Right. Deandra, help me out. Name an animal that we eat but doesn't eat us.
Well, Grant, I tell you what, I like to eat cock.
Whoa, no, we can't say.
Yeah.
Lisa, are we gonna?
You see what I did?
Yeah, that would almost made my list. It's a great episode.
It really is. It caught like Family Feud as it was kind of like peaking in the pop culture. It Keegan
Michael Key. Yes.
That's perfect. That's some. Yeah. Yes, Keegan Michael Key. He's perfect. The other team is perfect, and everybody. It's like what I love about this show is that I think it rewards the audience more for watching than any other show I've ever seen. Between like the reoccurring jokes, the way that they perfectly blended into the characters, and how it would actually happen in a real life situation, and they just crush it all the way from Frank's, Shibuya, roll call, and all that stuff, and his little dances. It's just great. So, do you have a favorite moment or a scene stealer or a character winner from this episode?
I think Dennis steals this episode, like just when they do that, and he's like, "Ooh, that's a little bit loud." And then the second time, he's like, "Hey, can you turn that down a little bit?" And it just ends with him face down, screaming on the floor as they're just playing the buzzer over and over again. That's my favorite part of that episode.
Yeah, this doesn't represent me is that's like the kind of dialogue that I've really incorporated in my life to where like if I have a tweet that goes wrong or somebody drags me on Twitter or I draft a bad fantasy team, I'm just like, this doesn't represent me. Doesn't represent me. I do want to tip the writers to the show for something I didn't realize until I saw it pointed out on Twitter or on Reddit, is that I believe when Dennis in the beginning tells Charlie, you're going to lose us this game. And then if it was Charlie instead of Dennis at the end, they would have won right on the dot. So they're smart writers over there.
There is. Yeah, there's a lot of deep writing and especially in the earlier seasons, like the setup that they have where they'll just plant these like little seeds early in the episode that just like bloom into hilarious punchlines at the end.
Oh, the absolute best. And they don't stop there. As Jamie points out here, did you hear about the prank they did to Danny DeVito with writing a fake script for him? Yes, that is hilarious. And it is on YouTube. Charlie Day talks about it on the Conan O'Brien show, where they write a script where what Danny DeVito has to do. I encourage anybody to go do it. I actually can't say it on the stream. What they pose Danny to do is it's devastating. And it was finally, of all the things they've done in the show, he said, I'm not doing this. So go check that out. Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, here, I'll ping pong it back to you. So we're 2 episodes in. What you got next?
Frank's Pretty Woman is just an all-time episode for me. There are so many, like one, the fact that Frank finally finds the love of his life and it is a lady of the night is just a funny bit in itself. But the relationship that Dee and she make with each other as Dee is trying to just shadow her around and kind of see what her life is like. And when they go to that expensive store and she's trying on the jacket, that if you remember, this jacket's tied to the dick skin, like just such a good line. Pours the alcohol over it. I'm sorry,
Dave. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Of all the clips I could have pulled from this show.
Jerry, can I speak with you in my office, please?
You have got to be kidding me.
Boom! Face, Jerry, face! Take a hike. Sorry about the gay stuff. That did cross the line.
Jerry, please.
Yes, that scene is hilarious. But then also the way that Frank proposes to her at the end where he goes,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you, but I want you to stop banging other guys. Like, it's just so good.
It is. Everybody comes out firing. And this is, of course, the famous season where, you know, Matt gains all the weight. And this is my favorite season of Sunny. I will say it's hard to pick one. I think that every episode is at the very least like a 9. I even like Frank's brother, which is the most maligned episode in Sunny circles. I think it's hilarious.
Every Dynasty League that I commission is called Shady Nasties.
Yeah,
Dynasties. It's the perfect Dynasty League name.
It is. Lance Riddick is in it, crushing. There's just so many. There's so much fun. And this episode in particular is great between, you know, anytime that Dee, like, it's a shame that her other shows didn't take off because she's just so phenomenal, especially in scenes like that where she's just like, face, take a hike. Those are the ones that I try to incorporate in my day-to-day life. So who do you have? I'll kind of switch this up as we go. A favorite quote from this show or from this one?
I think the quote is when when Frank proposes to her and says, I'm still going to pay you, but I want you to stop banging other guys. That's a good one. But I think Dee steals this episode more than anything else. Just her relationship with Roxy is just so funny.
Oh yeah. And we can't forget Don Cheadle, Tiger Woods making a little appearance halfway through. I just love when he's like, kick those things off. And he's like, come on.
She goes, you have some freakishly large feet.
Oh, just the best female character on any show that's ever gone. So
yes,
love that here. Okay, I'm gonna let's go to another one here. Oh yeah, just a show that I think maybe affected my life a little bit too much when I was going through a certain period, and I'll let the clip demonstrate it right here.
I thought you were just my wingman, though.
No, I'm swimming in your wake.
What are you two dickheads doing here?
What are you doing here?
What do you mean? I'm here for the scraps.
Frank, I haven't had a chance to get in there yet, okay? So just...
What do you mean? What's taking you so long?
Wait. What, you have a system where you come in after Mac?
That's right. I come in after Mac, but he's taking like forever this time. I got my Magnum condoms. I got my wad of hundreds. I'm ready to plow.
Yeah.
Does it get any better?
I figured this one would be on your list.
It had to be. And you know what I love about this is that I don't have to sit here and look to my other computer and look about like, you know, yards per route run. I just get to sit here and watch Danny DeVito talk about his wad of hundreds and his Magnum. I mean, just an all-timer, an episode where everybody's at their peak. It's peak Dennis. It's just got so many hits. Everybody's firing. What do you remember from this episode?
I think one of my favorite scenes is when he's talking. I can't remember exactly what step of the system it is. I'm trying to do it in my mind. But when he is calling her with the voice changer on the payphone and he's like, you're going to die, and like just scaring her overnight. I mean, this is peak Dennis. And I know the next question is going to be like, who steals this episode? It is without a doubt Dennis. Like there are a handful of episodes that just dive deep into the psyche of Dennis, this obviously being one of them. The 5-Star Man episode when they start dating is another one. The Dennis takes a mental health day. And there's something about the depth of Dennis's character that I think makes him just unbelievable. Like I don't want to compare myself to anybody in the gang because I feel like it would be insane, but I do find Dennis weirdly relatable at times. And he steals this episode for sure.
He does, because he has little comments when he's not being, you know, a sexual predator that are kind of like, and every character does this, but he does it the best of like being the straight man really quickly, but then just jumping back into being crazy. And a little trivia for the listeners out there. You'll see behind me here a War Eagle at Auburn.
Yep.
He is accepted to Auburn. He was getting ready to go to Auburn, Glenn Howerton, and at the last minute decided to pursue acting and ended up at Juilliard and gave us one of the best characters of all time. So selfishly, I'm going to take credit for that in some weird way. But He is the best. I want to shout out the grandmother in this episode as well, whose grandmother was a lesbian as well, as we found out. Big Calvin Coolidge fan. So gotta love that. All right, I'll kick it back to you here. What's your next episode?
Mac's big break kills me. The one where he wins the radio show, the contest, and he gets to shoot a puck on ice. That whole storyline is hilarious with Mac, with the hair and with the duster and learning how to shoot a puck, and the use of the word jabroni that he just keeps dropping in over and over again. But I think the side story in this episode is even funnier than Mac's big break. It's Dennis and Dee starting a podcast, and maybe it's just because I'm a podcaster myself. But oh my God, I could watch those scenes over and over again with Dennis. Like, so you're telling me there's a war, and then there's two wars, and then Frank tried to derail it and turned it into like the Howard Stern episode where he's like, maybe we can get her to drink soup out of a shoe, and all they've got is the dirt. He goes, well, just dump it on her head. Like, it's just so good.
It is. The looks that they give Dennis when he's doing the two wars is really just unbeatable. And you know what? I'm not even going to try and mimic it. Let's just go to our good friend right now.
Oh,
Dennis Poker's here with us, folks, and I want to talk to him because, Ben, it's my understanding that there is a war going on right now. Am I right in this?
Well, actually, there are two wars.
We're in the midst of two wars all at once. Now, the United States of America is engaged in both of these wars?
Yes, they are.
And are either of these wars happening on U.S. soil?
Excuse me.
What is your job in the war? Are you a carrier of large weaponry?
How about if we talk about how you used to bang?
It's just another perfect example of the gang. I mean, that whole, like, they go back to that scene multiple times too, where they bring Cricket in, and Cricket agrees
lemons.
To talk for
they give him lemons.
They give him, and it's just like, it's good for scurvy.
Oh God, yeah, that's the devolution of Cricket is one that's not going to make it in too many of mine, but just, not a lot of shows would do what they've done with this thing. I love this episode. Popularized jabroni, like you said. Just a lot of fun to be had. Do you have a favorite quote?
I think just the word jabroni. You talk about how this show just kind of like leaks into your lexicon over time. My buddies and I, we all love this show, and we were at a wedding last weekend, and I think throughout the course of that weekend, we must have dropped the word jabroni about 50 times. I mean, it just is such a common word that we use now ever since that episode.
Yeah, it's a really good, like, if I hear somebody say it, there's a very good chance that they love It's Always Sunny like I love it. So it's almost like, you tip your cap to them for contributing to the zeitgeist.
If anyone says jabroni, I just immediately follow it up with, you keep saying that word, and I got to say, it's awesome. And if they get the reference, I know we're going to be friends.
Yeah, that's fast friends too at that. So that's fantastic. All right. Who stole the episode for you?
That's a tough one. I think Dennis, though. Dennis, his podcasting voice is just too funny. Like you said, like, he always tries to be the straight guy, and him like trying a straight down the middle podcast while everybody else is trying to derail it. That's just another little funny peek into Dennis's mind.
Yes, indubitably. So that's fantastic stuff there. All right, I'm gonna go with an episode that has a scene that I think made me laugh the hardest I've laughed at the show. This isn't that scene, but we can talk about it after.
I hate to break this to you, man, but based on the story that you just told me, I think your mother was a prostitute.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, based on that story that you just told me, I'm fairly certain that those Santas were running a train on your mom for money.
No, dude, they would just give my mom money and go in the...
Yeah. Chew on that for a second. Let that settle in.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
It for my money, it just doesn't get any better than the mall scene in this episode. But I wanted to pull my favorite quote in particular was just based on that story you just told me is just the best Christmas episode of any show.
So when I started watching the show, season 6, I think, had just finished airing because I binged the entire show, and it ended with that episode. And then season 7 came out shortly after. So that was kind of like the cliffhanger for me, was that sunny Christmas episode. And there's so many good lines in there too. Like Frank playing the Christmas Carol with his ex-business associate, and then they just leave him at the graveyard at the end of the episode. And like you said, the scene at the mall, that's the first time that they dropped an F-bomb in that series, and I think that it was just perfectly placed at the right time. That's a good one too. And then of course going back and watching the old VHSs of them breaking into people's houses and stealing all of their Christmas gifts. Yeah, that's another just great episode.
It really is. Yeah, the Frank stuff is so funny, especially, you know, with the the go wake up your pillhead mother and just the Christmas video and stuff like that. They just like that episode has some of the single best deliveries. Jamie's loving it. Jamie said Player Profiler needs more shows like this. So I agree, Jamie. I think there's a lot of NFL content going on right now. It's nice to have these palate cleansers and just, you know, we love podcasting, but this is where we're kind of in our element.
I can't remember what the bag is. It's some made up designer that they use. It's like Giorgio Bordelli or something like that. And he's just walking around with a bag full of cheese puffs just to piss D off.
Oh, it's so great. And they even mix in the Rudolph Christmas special animation, which is very graphic. And then I love at the end where he's like, why wasn't the elf wearing pants? And he's like, I didn't say the elf wasn't wearing pants. He's like, oh, sorry, I've had a weird day.
And we have Frankie in the chat. Like the best part about the episode we didn't even talk about is Frank naked crawling out of the couch at the Christmas party. That I think when upon first watch, I don't know if anything's ever made me laugh that hard. Him just like waddling away with his like tiny little hilarious butt.
Yeah, it's probably what the show's most known for, I would guess. And I didn't even talk about it in the first 90 seconds of this, which you know what, that speaks to the show. I think that's a testament to the brilliance of the show and what they have going on. So
we could go 50 episodes deep today, and there would still be people in the chat like, well, what about this episode? What about that's just how good and deep this catalog is.
That's right. You're gonna get a lot of I can't believe nobody talked about this. So I'll post our rankings afterwards, and we'll let the people tell us where we were wrong. Okay, I will say just because of the nakedness, Danny DeVito steals the episode. And as far as quotes go, I think I'll go with say something about call Frank Reynolds an asshole and say it really loud. Let's go with that. That feels pretty good. All right, what do you got next?
The gang gives Frank an intervention. Just absolute peak Frank, him just losing his mind. There are so many good bits in this episode. The Diet Coke cans filled with wine, and Dennis like, I think they're onto something. He's like, I really like to use my hands and I can point aggressively without spilling. That's a great part there. That's our first introduction to Gail the Snail, who is a reoccurring character in that show. And at the end, like when they all just start shouting intervention at each other and like, I'm calling an intervention on Charlie for being illiterate and just going back and forth. That's and then Snail comes in where they inevitably salt her. Just a great episode.
Yeah, I do. I tried to do a drinking game at one time where we were going to drink every time they say intervention. And I don't think I made it maybe 45 seconds into the, once they get to that scene. Because it's like when people would play the drinking game for Thunderstruck. It was pretty brutal, and I just but I mean, from Frank gargling to beer to getting what are you doing? I'm giving Frank a handy underneath the table. There's just
actually
the episode doesn't miss any beats. Oh gosh, so do you have a favorite quote from this one?
Yeah, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but when Gail goes, Mom, I'm in my 30s. I'm sexually active. And she goes, well, I hope you'd be sexually active, but you shouldn't be funneling your uncle under the breakfast table. That line gets me every time.
All right. And that's gonna bring us to the one that I was trying to pull up here, because it does have It's Always Sunny has a recurring gag that they do, not every episode, but it is a hallmark gag for them. And I'm gonna pull that up for us right here. Let me see if I can actually find where she comes down. Yep. Let's get right to it. There we go.
How did you get? I think she.
Yep, this is it.
Dad, I made you breakfast. I hope you like it crispy because it is burned. What is going on?
How did you get in my house? Did you kick in my door?
Kick yes, kick in no. That door is solid, which is the good news. The bad news is the window is that's going to be a security concern, but don't worry about it. I'm going to fix it. It's up to snuff. You're always safe when you're with me. Are you?
It just they use the camera cutaway as well as any show ever has to, whether it's like somebody standing right next to like them when they're talking and you think they're alone, or just anything like that is it's always top-notch
The
material.
Jersey Shore episode where they're going like in depth about the woman's life, and they're just like, oh yeah, you know, she probably got pregnant young and addicted to drugs, and they're going on, and then they zoom
Yeah.
out and she's just sitting 3 feet in front of them.
Letting the HIV fester into AIDS. Yeah, that's just and I love when she's like, you know what, you're not that far off.
Yeah.
Nick Take Jake said, I thought I was a big Sunny fan. These guys got me beat. We're trying here. We're trying. Time for a rewatch. Absolutely. Frank choking has to be up there. Yeah, that's an all-time scene as well. Dave, I'm going to ask you favorite quote of the episode, and then we'll punt to my next one.
Yeah, my favorite quote is the I'd hope you're sexually active, but not fondling your uncle under the table. That's definitely my favorite quote. And I think, you know, given that this episode is about Frank and his spiral into addiction and getting the intervention, I think Frank has to be the one who stole this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. You're he's the titular character of this one, and he steals it without a doubt. I'm gonna take the baton from you, and I'm gonna play my next episode because I think it transitions pretty well.
Charlie! Come on, man. Dude! Oh my God, this place is amazing!
Right?
All right, and the sunblock drink? Nice, guys.
They're really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
Thing is, I didn't make you one.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Charlie, you're drinking sunblock. That's good. It gets you all. Yeah, you're ingesting viscous chemicals and they're getting you hot. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay.
It gets you all
The way that he runs out of the water, the way that they immediately are like, you're getting it, doesn't matter. It's just like everybody once again is like you just don't know where they're gonna go because they don't do a lot of episodes outside of Philly. And so this one was just such a home run. It's the second episode of the season. And there is not a scene in this episode in particular that is not, I think, a 10 out of 10. Even the beginning where he chokes him out so they can go to the Jersey Shore is just like, what is there not to love about this?
Yeah, when Charlie wakes up in the morning after spending the night with the waitress and she just freaks out and he's like, no, we had a great time. He's like, we drank some ocean. You didn't like it very much. You puked. And she's like, what?
I was on ecstasy last night. Yeah, it's just kind of like they take it from, you know, just when you think you know where they're going to go, they really know how to like knock it out of the park at the very end. Walking in on
getting saved by the Guidos and like just poking steroids in his butt. It's so good.
It's funny because like Rumham is what everyone knows this episode from, but it's not the least funny part because it's hilarious. But like there are so many other parts of this episode that are darker, that are more funny and just kind of take it from me. You know, whether it's like D pulling in at the end, like get your fat ass, get in the car. It's just like, what is there not to love? Her hair falling out on the ride, Dennis yakking.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. And this is the same one that we talked about where they are having the conversation about the woman directly in front of her. And then they leave and that is not weed. He goes, it's PCP. Just enjoy the ride.
That one, that one escalates so quickly. All set to vacation, all I've ever wanted. So, you're not going to get any better than that. I would say for me personally, the quote for this one that I just randomly say every now and then is don't swim to Europe. It's just like the way that he says it with such a like, maybe I'll swim. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one that nobody will ever remember, but I just randomly will find myself saying that when I'm alone.
It's a good one.
Yeah. All right. Back to you. What do you got?
So there's been a theme with a lot of my episodes. I really like the early seasons, and this is season 4. Mac and Charlie Die. It is a 2-parter, but the whole episode itself is pretty funny. It gets off to a really funny start where, if you remember, they have to fake their own death because they ratted on Mac's dad who is getting out of prison, and that scene itself is probably a little too intense to share when they're the court testimonials. The entire episode is funny, but the one part that gets me is when they steal Dee's car and they crash it into a wall and they videotape it and then they send it to them and it's a list of demands and they say it's not a list of demands, it's a will. And Dee goes, no, it literally says right here, list of demands. But everything about that, Charlie scream when they crash into the wall.
Yeah.
That Mac getting out of the car completely concussed, going to the pawn shop and buying the wedding dress with blood dripping out of his ear. It's just so good.
This is one where you forget how great of an episode it is until you watch it. And it is a 2-parter, so maybe that blurs it a little bit, but they have so many, you know, you just talked about like the list. It says right here, list of demands. They have like 10 moments like that in the show where Charlie's standing there at the end when Frank has the little dummy of him and he's like, did I see you bang that thing? And then they all just like blow up and it's just like, it's got so many highlights. It's got one of my favorite side characters, which is Dennis's new roommate, Jan. And then it also has my favorite monologue of the show.
Angry. Burn the duster. Hey, I'm not burning the duster. Okay? I'm not burning the duster. All right? That's crazy. That's insane. Why would I ever burn? I mean, I will continue to wear it in his honor, and I will burn some other things. Maybe like these stupid goddamn sleeveless t-shirts that he wants retired and hung up in the bar. I'll burn these, but I'm not burning the duster. Okay? So forget it. It probably won't even burn anyway. It's not supposed to. It's flame retardant. That's like the whole point. It's like a shield of armor. So stop asking me to burn the duster. I'm not gonna burn it! So, end of story, Let's just move on.
Dude, it's too good.
It perfectly encapsulates how they all just, don't care about each other, but continue to spend all day and day together. And I just love how just when you think it's peaked, he comes back with, stop, I'm not going to burn it. He's not ready to quit. I just love that through 17 seasons of this show, they continue to trust each other after they have episodes like this, which is even in season 4. I mean, this is just one where they couldn't care less about each other.
And the title of these episodes is Back in Charlie Die, but the whole side plot with the glory hole and the new roommate is so funny. And my favorite quote from this one is when they go to the orgy and they ask, so what's the password?
Yeah.
And Frank just goes, orgy. And they open the door.
It's one of the best scenes in the whole show. And you just like, why is there a buffet at a goddamn orgy? He's like, Jesus, that guy's not even wearing a mask. This is like, there's so much Dennis in so many of the shows we're doing today, but he really is just like, when he's playing the straight man, it's so funny.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I think Dennis has been the same character throughout the entire series. And I think a lot of the other characters have adapted. I mean, Mac, obviously, who he was in the early seasons and who he is now. But I think Dennis is the one that kind of keeps them somewhere between where they are in this madness and grounded in reality. But then he has the scenes where he loses his mind. And those are some of the best moments of the entire show.
Yeah. And that's just why it's so good, is because you expect it, but you're not ready for it. Like how they go about it is just completely always by surprise. So does not get any better. Did you have a favorite quote from this one?
Yeah, my favorite quote is just Frank's delivery of the word orgy at the password door. That kills me.
Yeah. We might when I promo the show after this, that might be what I go with. Love the two-parters. They always deliver. There's just so much fun to be had in this episode. This might be the episode that I watch immediately after we're done. So great call here. Great call here. All right. I'm going to go with, what do we got next here? There's so many good options. Okay. I have to go with the end of season 7 here. And one of the funniest scenes that nobody remembers.
I've been waiting a long time for this. You know me, bitch. Oh, God!
It's good. Another two-parter, too. Like you said, the two-parters always deliver. And this is next up on my list if you weren't going to take it. I mean, this is just an amazing episode.
It is. And I have a true story here. I was watching this episode on a flight one time, and the stewardess came and checked on me because that clip that I showed right there, I forgot about how funny it is. And I was laughing so hard that she actually thought that something was wrong because she thought somebody was having some sort of medical injury. It's so good.
Laughing.
Nothing. I was just laughing, but trying not to laugh audibly. So you just see a seat rocking like this. That scene, nothing better encapsulates a character than Charlie's underwear disintegrating like that. somebody tries to go give him a wedgie. And that just, this episode ties so much of the lore of the season together, from, the Ingrid character from season 3 who owns her own store, to Brad from the waitresses.
She just yelled it over and over.
And she's just she just looks so good. It doesn't work. And Dennis is just oh man, there's so much to love about this one. Do you have any particular standouts from this two-parter?
I can't remember the exact quote, but it's when Dee finally gets accepted by the popular group, and she just starts screaming. She's like, "I'm popular. I'm cool. Did I tell about me? I'm the belle of the ball." And she's just going nuts at the popular kid table. That scene.
Yeah. Oh, she's on fire in this one, especially when she goes back into the back brace. I also want to shout out the opening when they smash them up and they throw all their bottles on the ground. That was me and my friends went through a phase where we're probably not loved by our apartment complex during those times. Yeah, a lot to love here. I love that they tease the waitress's names, potentially being Nikki Potnick with Frank.
Yep.
The dance at the end, which is of course iconic. Another great quote by Charlie where he's like, kids are dancing again. They have these things called rainbow parties. They give each other blowjobs and they just like cut the mic. It's so good. No show does it better than like the cut the mic moment than It's Always Sunny does.
There's also at the very end of the episode when the waitress comes stumbling out, just wasted, and she goes, I'm going to go home with the first guy that says a word to me. And Charlie opens his mouth, and then Schmitty just comes swooping it out of nowhere and grabs her and takes off.
Yep.
That's another good bit.
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis is just the man in this one. He's the only reoccurring character. Or is he the most famous guest star on this show now that I'm thinking about it? I mean, everyone else is kind of a little bit.
Maybe is Sean Williams.
Yeah. John Williams Scott's good. And you know what? That maybe that'll foreshadow a little bit of what's to come here. What do you have for your next episode?
This is another one of the earlier seasons, but the waitress is getting married.
Nice.
Is a really, really good one. And I think the whole scene is fun. Or like the whole episode is funny with the guy trying to get like revenge on the women who smited him when he was in high school. But it's where they try to get Charlie to get over the waitress because they don't want him to get crushed. The scene where Charlie goes on the blind date is one of the funniest scenes. And I don't even think this whole episode itself is great, but that scene specifically, Charlie going on a blind date, is so good. Just sweating through his shirt. And he goes, have you been eating cheese? And he goes, how much cheese is too much cheese? And Dennis goes, any cheese before a date is too much cheese. Like, it's just so good. He goes into the bathroom and he's like, can we switch shirts? I'll just say that, I switch shirts with the guy in the bathroom. She won't think anything of it. It's just great.
It really is. And people remember that show. That's this one in particular for, the dating profile scene, which is great. Don't get me wrong. It is like it's way up there as far as funny stuff goes. But that scene in particular where he's in the shirt, he's like, or they're in the bathroom. And he's like, I'll say I met a nice guy in the bathroom and we switch shirts. And he's like, are you hearing yourself right now? I'm actually going to give us the first 30 seconds of this comeback because it's one of my favorite parts of the entire series here. So let's get you on stage here when he's coming back from the bathroom. Oh, come on. You're better than that. You're a better host than that.
Right? That's going to work.
Get out, come on.
There we go. That's Trucky Fat Fingers over here.
Hey,
I'm trying to explain that he's a philanthropist.
There was a guy in the bathroom. He wouldn't give me a shirt, and I was fighting. I'm like, give me your shirt, bro. And he didn't want to give it to me, and it was like a whole thing.
Hi, I'm the manager, and Mr. Kelly is one of our preferred customers. It's so wonderful to see you here again this evening.
Now, I'm going to want the milk steak boiled over hard and a side of your finest jelly beans raw.
Mr. Kelly, you have the most wonderful sense of humor.
Hey, I own this joint, and I know this guy, and he is loaded. Mr. Kelly, we have your milk boiling just the way you like it back there for your steak.
You're going to like this.
How's about I clear out the coat room, and you guys hit it in there while the steak is getting ready?
What?
What in the hell?
It just from like every character playing their role to perfection. It doesn't get any better than I own this joint and I know this guy and he's loaded.
And also, like I forget that he's covered in hornet stings because he's trying to harvest honey from a hornet's nest.
I'm gonna pop a quick H on this box just so everybody knows that it's covered in hornets. Yeah, that's
Charlie,
an
there's
all-timer.
no honey inside that nest. He goes, I'm just not sure about that.
Yeah, there's no science that can that can dispute that. Yeah, this one is chock full of great fantasy football meme ability. You can just take a lot of the quotes from this one and just insert like fantasy quotes to it, and it plays any well if anybody wants to make any memes out there. I also love in the beginning of this one, they do this thing a lot too, where Dee's talking about how worried she is for Charlie, and they're like, no, you don't care about Charlie. You're just upset that she's getting married. And then Matt goes, or she's worried that he's going to blow his brains out and she's going to have to do all the Charlie work. And she's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. These early seasons, man, like I don't think they get the credit that they deserve. I will say when you go back and watch them, season 7 was when they switched to HD digital.
Yeah.
So all of the other stuff, if you have to go back, it's not going to fit on a full screen. It's going to be a little bit grainy. And I think that's a turnoff for a lot of people. But if you can just get through the graininess and the not high defness of those early seasons, I think they're just jam-packed with some of the funniest scenes.
They are. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually, they had on one of their podcast episodes, they had a heated talk about that because Charlie he didn't want to switch to HD. He loved the look of the prior seasons and they have so much charm. And I completely agree. There's just a different feel. You really do feel like going back into another era there. So
And I
for
think now even more than HD, now they've all got like facial work done too, and like
Yeah.
it's way too polished now. There's something like gritty and raw about those early seasons that I don't think they'll ever be able to recapture.
No, it is unbeatable time. It's like the great old early days. Do you have a who stole the episode for you?
Oh, Charlie, without a doubt. This is one of
Yeah.
the best Charlie episodes by far.
Which, you know what, like he is just such a perfect character, and not a lot of Charlie. I mean, we're giving him love because we played a lot of his scenes, but as far as like, do you have a power rankings of characters? I know it's impossible to do probably, but if you had to, could you do it on today's
I would
show?
go Frank, and then Dennis,
Mm.
and then D, and then Mac. Mac's not that funny to me. Like he's got his moments, but like overall, I think he's more the big picture idea. I think he kind of keeps the group together outside of the show. But acting, I think his characters change so much throughout the series. He's definitely my least favorite.
Yeah, he's like, and the big joke is like, guys, I've got news. Like that's his role, and he has funny commentary. But as far as like who sticks out from this show, it's usually the other one. So I'm glad you had Frank in there. So I'll give Frank some love here for my next episode here.
Oh, I did miss Charlie. Yeah, Charlie is above D and below Frank and Dennis.
Yeah, there you go. And that's perfect. I think that's a perfect rankings. I'd co-sign that. So let's get to our next episode here.
Back off. Don't get killed. Don't get killed. Watch your car. Watch your car. In the car. Get out of here. Hey, a kid balloon. Food. Gotta get hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog. Hot dog. Hot. Hot.
That's a great scene. And I think this is one of the most underrated episodes because this was not later seasons, but I think this is when interest started to die down a little bit. And this was one of those seasons or one of those episodes that just knocked it out of the park. It's so good.
Yeah, this season was really, I think it's in my top. It's the only season after maybe 7 that's, no, actually, 11 and 13 are great. It's really like, there's a stretch in here that ends in this episode that is just unbelievable. And I just remember laughing. There's like that moment that he comes out of the bathroom and he's back after doing the pills that he found.
Yes.
All the way through like the very end is just, it's just like an aspect of the show they haven't done, but it just captures what I love about Frank so much. From poking the kid's balloon to going into the women's restroom and kicking them out to Pondy's the coolest. Just doesn't get any better.
I don't even know, man. I'm looking right now, like we've only got, 10 minutes left on this show, and I'm looking at like 18 other episodes that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't even know which one to go with next.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? I think we wax poetic about Frank. I'll say Pondy's the coolest is my quote from this episode, and I'll kick it back to you so we can rush through. We can bang some out.
Yeah, the gang buys a boat is a classic. This is another one where I think it just encapsulates every single person in the gang so well. You've got them trying to clean the boat out and Charlie just diving into the water and throwing all the trash back into the boat. You've got Dee with her outrageous dancing, and then Dennis. I think the peak from this episode is the implication speech that he's giving to Mac at the store as they're shopping for the boat party. This is just a great episode, front to back.
Yeah, this one is really special to me because season 6, is it 6? Yeah, was the first season, first new season to come out after I had binged the whole show. So I was really excited for it. I couldn't wait for it to come back. And I didn't love the first 2 episodes of season 6 for whatever the reason may be. They're just not terribly memorable. And then this episode comes along and it's just perfect. Everything you could want from the beginning is so perfect. All the stuff with the tasty treats, everything that happens on the boat, from them like fighting over who's going to be captain. It just doesn't get any better. And of course, the implication is one of the great scenes of all time.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite quote from this one?
My favorite quote is just the entire monologue speech that Dennis gives about the implication. It's well known. I don't have it memorized, but I think that's definitely my favorite scene from this episode.
Yeah, it's impossible to like. Sometimes you don't want to tee up the cliches. You just want to get some deep cuts or find some ones. But that one is so perfect, and it was written by Charlie Day. So shout out Charlie Day for giving us that one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better. I'm going to give us a quick 30 seconds of what I think is one of my favorite encapsulations of this show as well. So let's get you back up here. Let's get you on the screen and booyah.
Shibuya.
Cook them in a pot and serve them to us.
Okay,
Don't do it.
all that. Honestly, don't eat those. You'll get very, very sick. Okay, now that is a direct order from your captain.
Wow. Since when are you the captain?
Well, clearly I'm the captain. Who else will be the
I
captain?
feel like I would be the captain. Dennis? I don't give a shit.
I'm captain. I call it locked in. Boom.
That is like that's the show in a nutshell, is who's going to be the
Yes.
captain, and one person just going, I don't give a shit.
Yep. And then Max stealing it for himself.
Yeah.
That's pretty perfect.
I also love when they think they're going to be how quickly Dennis accepts that they're going to be the tasty treats on the boat for Patrick Swayze's brother and them. He's just like,
Yes.
yeah, we're the tasty treats in this scenario. He's been in that situation so many times that he's just absolutely ready to rock. So did you have a favorite quote from this one?
Yeah, the implication monologue.
The implication.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to keep track here for us. So I think it'll make for a fun graphic. So let's see what I got here next. There's so, like you said, there's just so many unbelievable ones to
I
choose
know,
from
I've
here.
got so many that I want to talk about, and
Mm.
I know we're not going to be able to get to them all. This could have been an 8-hour show, and we'd still be going.
Yeah, we'd still be going. I'm going to go with, okay, this one's fantastic, and it always puts me in a good mood.
What is that? Is that piss? Is that piss? Pull over!
You might as well pull over. He's just gonna keep yelling.
Pull over, you little dick! Stop the car! Jesus Christ, D! I'm covered in piss!
Well, maybe you shouldn't have had your window down.
Maybe you shouldn't be throwing jars of pee out the window!
Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. It's up for debate.
You shouldn't!
Hey, what the hell is that?
Holy
It's amazing.
The cut to them just face down in the U-Haul is one of my 5 favorite shots of the whole show.
There's a scene earlier in that episode too where they go to the flea market, and Mac is all excited to barter with the guys at the flea market and finds out that Charlie has never had a pear before. So he barters the guy, talks him down, buys a pear for Charlie, and then Charlie just eats the pear, the pit, the stem, everything.
Oh, I eat stickers all the time, dude.
Yeah,
That's
sticker.
great. That's another one. That's another great fantasy one where you can just say, I draft kickers all the time, dude. This show is ripe for parody. Yeah, this one is just like great. Like what would it's of course they bait you with we're finally gonna leave Philadelphia, and they don't even leave like their zip code.
That's a classic episode.
Oh, it's so great. So I will say, I'll go favorite quote. I eat stickers all the time is pretty up there. And I'll say that Charlie steals this one for me for there's just so much in this episode that he's great at. So I'll kick it back to you so we can bang through a few more here before we get a wrap up.
Mac and Charlie White Trash is such a good episode. It's when the heat wave rolls through Philadelphia and everybody's trying to cool off, and they're trying to go to the private pool and they get turned down there. So they end up going to the old diving pool, which is now empty, diving pool that Mickey Potnick died in, and they get stuck in there. There are so many good scenes, but I think the best part, and this is one of my favorite scenes from the entire season or from the entire show, is when Dee, Dennis, and Frank go to the public pool. And Frank with the greased watermelon, and then he's got the line. He's like, "All right, well, butter me up. I'm the watermelon this time." And he comes out and he's like, "This woman attacked me like a velociraptor." And he's just
He's scraped like he literally fell onto like a ton of barnacles. It's so damn funny.
There's the other scene too where the Dee and Dennis, they look over and these two kids are throwing rocks at each other, and she goes, "Are those kids having a rock fight?" And then they cut to Mac and Charlie, who are in the pool throwing rocks at each other. And he's like, "Oh, you got me in the eye, bro."
Oh, there's so many little quips in that one where he's like, he just jumped in his pool with his sneakers on, and you don't know that like the pool's covered in glass or anything yet.
They call it delivery guy because they need somebody to get him out of the pool. They're like, "Well, let's call he's like, "We should get Chinese." And he's like, "No, let's call Italian so we can get this big Italian lug that'll get us out of here."
It's a Chinese guy. It's so great. Oh
Shows him the
man,
chain,
yeah.
And he goes, this chain's fake as shit, man. And he goes,
Yeah.
"I'm sorry, he's white trash." Like, it's just a great episode.
Oh, there's so and those are episodes that you forget once again how fucking funny they are until you're just right in the middle of them here. All right, do you have who steals this episode for you?
Frank, when he comes out after he is the greased up watermelon, and he comes out and he goes, the woman attacked me like a velociraptor. Like that scene gets me every single time.
Yeah, you can't beat it here. So I apologize for not having a clip queued up here. I think I might have missed that when we were going through, but we'll I'm going to do one more for me and then one more for you, and then we'll be on our merry way here. So I would be remiss if I didn't play what I think is probably one of my favorite exchange of the whole show.
This flu is so brutal.
Hey, guys. I think I might be coming down with something, too.
Are you kidding me, dude? Like, I think you're gonna die.
I think I'm gonna die.
It's so good. Are you kidding me, dude? I think you're gonna die. And then
It's like, yeah, the acting in this episode, everybody is just it's top notch. The pacing is so well, and then the reveal at the end, which of course is like one of the absolute funniest reveals of all time. Just doesn't get any better for me personally.
Yeah, I was torn between that and another one for the final one I wanted to talk about, so I'm glad you picked it. I think that's one of the most or the most well-written episodes in the series. Like the twist at the end when Charlie pulls what they think is bleach out from underneath the counter, and that's a great episode.
Yeah, there's also like another really funny small moment that has like nothing to do with the episode when Frank shaved his head and they're playing charades and he's guessing and he's like Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13. It's just like that kind of writing shows up in Sunny every now and then. It's not really what they do typically, but it's just so funny when they do.
Also, when Charlie is wearing his mom's like suit that'll keep him free from germs, and he's got the little nozzle that he unscrews and just slugs a beer into so he can drink out of it.
No, it's cool though. It skips a generation. It's just so it's so great. You've got holy shit, Dennis is Spider-Man. Great quote.
Yeah.
And then you've got Charlie drawing them all in the same outfit, but it's all of them coming outside of different arms and legs of one outfit as opposed to wearing the same thing. And it's just the kind of writing that I wake up for. So love that. I'll give Dennis is not too hard, not too soft is my favorite quote of the episode.
Yes.
I think he steals it as well. And Dave, you absolutely crushed it today. So as the guest of honor, get us out here on one more episode.
Man, there's a million directions I can go here, but the gang wrestles for the troops always holds a soft spot in my heart.
Thank you.
Such a good episode. This is our introduction to Artemis, which we haven't mentioned once in the show. I think Artemis is one of the funniest characters in the entire show. And the quote from this scene especially that just kills me every single time is when she shows up wearing purple and she's supposed to be Desert Rose. And she goes, "Why are you wearing purple? You're supposed to be wearing red for Desert Rose." He goes, "Whatever, I'm Desert Grape then."
Desert Grape. Does it get any better than Desert? Yeah, she is an all-timer, and they use her so perfectly, and they pace her out through. They sprinkle her so well throughout the entire season. This show has so much.
My home league is Shady Nasties, as I've told you. That's my home Dynasty league, and we all have different team names that are revolved around this. And my buddy Peter, his team name is the Trash Man, and his avatar is Frank with his arms up. It's too good.
The Trash Man is great. You've got the Maniac. You've got Birds of War. You've got them. There's just so much to love. You've got like a bucket of chestnuts is such a great little gag. I mean, what is he foraging for his food? Like it's just peak. And I wish I had pulled a better one here, but I did. I'm glad you pulled this up because I did have the intro to this one is really fun.
We're gonna hang out together, so suck on that.
Yeah, I feel terrible.
Yeah, you should.
I feel terrible too because he's gonna come back from Iraq and he's gonna find out that he's been chatting with.
No.
And then that's no good.
There's a high suicide rate for these guys. It's gonna be crushed. This is emblematic of a bigger problem, guys. I don't think people are proud to be Americans anymore. You know, not like we were in the 80s.
Oh, in the 80s, we were so patriotic.
Oh, man, when Hogan was doing his thing and we were killing Iranians or whatever, I mean, like, we were proud.
So you didn't even get to the part where they explain Hulk Hogan, and she goes, "He's got the blonde hair and the skin of a hot dog."
The skin of a hot dog, and he's having a seizure of strength when he does Hulkamania. I just don't know who writes for stuff like that. So, do you have a favorite quote for this one, and then we'll be on our merry way?
Yeah, when Artemis just so nonchalantly, okay, then I'm Desert Grape. Her delivery kills me.
Desert Grape. Fantastic. All right. That's a perfect one to end today's show on. Dave, I want to thank you for popping by. For the 1,000 people that are still watching right now, why don't you shout out where the people can find you and all the good stuff?
Yeah, real simple over at FootballGuys.com. That's where I've got all my shows, all my articles. You can follow me on Twitter at Dave Kluge and see all the stuff that I'm sharing there as well.
Excellent. Dave, thank you so much for popping by. This has been one hell of a good time. I'll post this on Twitter after and see where everybody disagrees with us.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Cheers.